Superman 3. It's directed by Richard Lester, produced by Ilya and Alexander Salkind, distributed by Warner Brothers, and it stars Christopher Reeve and Richard Pryor. Okay. The basic plot of this movie is Superman. I don't even know what the plot is of this movie. It was more of a comedy movie, right from the start. But the plot is that Superman has to battle against this computer, which is basically Brainiac. But anyways, he has to go up against this computer and defeat a computer, because I guess computers are ruling the world. But anyways, after the 1980 release of Superman 3, Margot Kidder and Gene Hackman were basically booted off the film, which is Lois Lane and Lex Luthor. Hackman left the film entirely. Margot Kidder came back, and she was a cameo. One scene, she says she's going to the Bahamas. She gets a tan and comes right back at the end of the movie. So instead of Gene Hackman being in the movie, of course, they got this guy named Ross Webster, who was basically like another Lex Luthor, but rich. Then they had a stripper in this movie, and an old sister that was like, rah, 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 all the time. So, Jimmy Olsen, Perry White returns. Like, they were the same characters. I mean, yeah. But what started this movie off so bad, and you just knew it was going to be a terrible movie, was when the whole opening was camp. Everybody's walking around Metropolis doing their thing, and then somebody just decides to slip, and all this comedic stuff happens, which is just like, this is terrible, but I'll watch it because it's Superman 3. And then Superman saves somebody out of a car, and there you go from there. But the whole movie, Christopher Reeve was in basically 3 good Superman scenes. Other than that, it was a lot more of dialogue, and then it was also the campiness of Richard Pryor. Why was he in this movie? I do not know. This movie is not good. Is it better than Superman 4, The Quest for Shit? Yeah. Is it a finished movie compared to 2? Yeah. Does it have a basic plot? The writers were so terrible. So much comedy in this one. And of course, you had to have Richard Pryor in it. So it's going to be already a comedy movie. But nothing was funny in the movie. It really wasn't. But anyways, there's 3 good scenes in the film that I liked from Reeve. Reeve saving that guy out of the car. Reeve, saving the chemical fire. That was cool. I like that. That was a serious scene in the movie. And then, 2 more, where he saved Ricky, and then he had that junkyard fight with himself. And if you guys don't know, Ross Webster, who's basically a tycoon of Lex Luthor, same person basically, decides, okay, Richard Pryor, I need you to go get some kryptonite, and I need you to kill Superman. Well, he got the kryptonite, but he put an element of tar in it. So with the tar, it made Superman not die, but it made Superman evil. And this is not an evil Superman. The first thing that Superman does when he's bad is he goes to Rome and pushes the Leaning Tower of Pisa upward. It gets better. It gets better. He then goes to the Olympics, and the guy that's holding the torch, he's going up the stairs, and Christopher's like, I'm yawning. Ugh. And he blows out the torch. Oh, he's so bad. And then when the stripper, who is basically working for Ross Webster, is up on the Statue of Liberty, and they're all flirting and everything, and she's like, you gotta do this little thing for me. See, this is their little boat, and it's going the wrong way. And he has to go and stop an oil tanker just to have super sex. I've seen this movie since I was 6 years old, and I did not know what Superman was going to be doing, but Now looking back and in my 19-year-old self and looking at this movie and I see super sex, oh my god. And then after that, Superman gets basically wasted in a bar, which that just I laughed at that whole scene when he's taking the shots and then he's flicking the peanuts and the nuts and then and then he just with his X-ray vision, there's this mirror there and he just like making the X-ray vision like hit the mirror and it's making shit happen to the mirror. And then he gets out of the tavern and he's like, "What are you looking at?" Huh? And then yeah, it goes from there. And then he gets in. And then the best scene in the whole movie was when he gets in the junkyard because he's having like a mental breakdown or he's high off of something. I don't know. But then Clark Kent comes out of him, and they just look at each other, and then he just is like looks at him and is like, "You're trash," and they just punches him in the face. Like I was like, whoa, like this is gonna be kind of cool, and it was cool. The junkyard scene was cool, and it was cool when Clark Kent won the fight against evil Superman in the junkyard, and then he turns back to Superman, and he it was a big triumphant moment. He flies away, and I'm just like, this is cool. Maybe the whole ending could be cool, and then right when he gets into the Grand Canyon and they use a Atari to shoot missiles at him. That's where I lost the film entirely. The love story, I do like Annette O'Toole. She was Lana Lang in the film, and that was basically Superman's love interest, but basically Clark's love interest. But again, Lana has a kid, and she's got responsibilities, and they're in Smallville. It wasn't that great with the love chemistry. Webster scenes were kind of shit, and he was like talking all sophisticated. "I can't have anybody with me who isn't with me." Okay, and I guess in this film back in the 80s, I didn't know computers could change the weather. Because in this one scene, Richard Pryor has to program this computer to go to South Africa and basically destroy the whole entire coffee crop to the last bean. And this satellite up in space, I don't think we really have it because that would be a very sophisticated satellite. It's called the Vulcan satellite, and it sends beams down and makes weather. And then more comedy scenes where Richard Pryor's the weather, and he starts making all these checks go out, and this guy's getting money from an ATM, and then he's controlling stoplights, basically, walking lights. When the green person that says go and the red person that says no, you can't go. And then these two little characters in the sign itself, with the green says to walk and the says to stop, they go up and they start fighting each other. This movie is a terrible movie. Chris Reeve, out of the 3 Superman films, I don't count Quest for shit. This was his best performance as Superman. He was very confident in the role, and he always asked, "What could I do to help?" And he always thought things through, and always said, "Okay, this is what I got to do, and this is how I do it, because I'm Superman and I know what to do." Which in Superman 1, he was more, I'm new to the world, so if I hear something, I got to go do it. This is what my father told me to do. Or in 2, when he said, "You know what, I want to do it. I want to have sex with Lois Lane and be a human with her, and I love her very much." In this one, he's Superman, and he's really Superman. He goes to each situation, and he thinks to himself, and he asks everybody, "What can I do to help?" And I thought that was really cool that what they did there. But at the end, where he's flying Richard Pryor to Metropolis, and he stops at this coal mine, he's like, "Well, you should get Gus Gorman a job." Gus Gorman almost basically killed Superman, and you're saying, "You should get him a job because he's really good with computers." It's not Chris's fault, it's the writing. And the Newmans, who are the writers for 2 and 3, are terrible people. I know one's dead right now. I think that's Mr. Newman. Leslie's still alive, and Leslie's like was in the documentary talking about this crap, and she's just she wrote Santa Claus the movie after that, and after that she stopped writing. Thank God, because she was a terrible writer. Richard Lester, after this one, I think the whole Superman franchise was burnt out. That's why they sold the rights to Canon, and then they made Superman 4. Okay, I will say this: 3 is better than 4, and 3 did, of course, gross more money than 4. 3 was not as good as 1 and 2, of course, because it was not even close to being good. If you took Richard Pryor out of the film and maybe added somebody else in the film, that a better plot instead of computers and Richard Pryor, it would have been a really good movie. Chris Reeve was always great as being Superman, and he did his best job with the script that he had as being Superman. Some of the action scenes with him were good. I will give the writing great knowledge when it comes to the chemical factory, him saving Ricky, and him against Clark versus the bad Superman. Other than that, this movie's complete shit. I'm going to have to give Superman a D+. Please keep subscribing. Yeah, I'm so glad I'm almost out of the Superman series. Now I have to do my review of Superman 4, The Quest for Shit. You will know why it's The Quest for Shit in my next review. Please keep viewing. Yeah.